It was past midnight when my phone rang, piercing the silence of my dark apartment. The glow from the screen illuminated my bedroom in a soft blue light, showing the familiar number that made my stomach drop, my own number. I froze for a second, unsure if it was a glitch. My mind raced with possibilities, none of which made sense. Every instinct told me not to answer, but curiosity outweighed fear. Slowly, I reached for the phone, my hand trembling slightly as I pressed the accept button, bringing it to my ear. At first, there was nothing. Absolute silence. No static, no background noise, just a weighty emptiness that made my skin crawl. Then I heard breathing, slow, uneven, like someone had just finished running. My pulse spiked, and I gripped the phone tighter. A chill ran down my spine. I tried to convince myself it was a prank, a technical glitch, something explainable. But the way the breathing paused and resumed felt deliberate, measured, almost human in its cadence, and I realized this wasn't ordinary. Finally, a voice spoke. "Listen carefully," it said, calm but urgent. My blood ran cold. The tone, the pitch, the hesitation, it was my voice. I sat up in bed, frozen, clutching the phone as my mind tried to comprehend it. "Who is this?" I asked shakily, hoping for some normal explanation. "You already know," it said. "It's you. Or it will be you, 30 minutes from now." My heart raced faster than ever, a mix of disbelief and terror constricting my chest, making it hard to breathe. The voice continued without pause. "I'm calling from your future. You need to listen closely to survive what's coming." My hands shook as I glanced around the room. Everything seemed normal, yet the tension was suffocating. The dim lamp cast long shadows across the floor, and the half-empty glass of water on my desk now seemed ominous, as if somehow significant. My mind spun in panic, realizing that whatever was happening, this call was impossible, and yet undeniably real. I laughed nervously, trying to mask my fear. "This isn't funny," I said. "Who's there?" The voice didn't respond with laughter. "I'm serious. You're sitting on the edge of your bed. The charger tangled beside the lamp, a glass of water on your desk. All exactly as I remember." My eyes darted across the room. Every detail matched. Every single detail. My chest tightened painfully as a chill ran through me. I wanted to hang up, to convince myself it was a trick, but I couldn't. I had to hear more. My grip on the phone tightened as the voice spoke again, calm yet urgent. "I know you're scared," it said. "But you must listen. Don't hang up, don't ignore this." I sat frozen on the edge of the bed, every nerve screaming, my eyes darting to the dim corners of the room. Shadows stretched unnaturally along the walls, twisting slightly as though alive. The faint hum of the refrigerator sounded menacing, and even the distant city noises seemed muted, as if the world itself was holding its breath for what was about to happen. "Step into the hallway," the voice instructed. Now, my chest tightened. The door to the corridor seemed like a void, pitch black, swallowing the dim light from my bedroom. My mind screamed to ignore it, yet curiosity and fear collided, forcing me to rise. Each step toward the hallway creaked loudly on the wooden floor, echoing ominously. I could almost feel the presence of something waiting just beyond the edge of the shadows, invisible yet undeniable, making every hair on my body stand on end. A chill ran down my spine as I neared the hallway, phone pressed to my ear. The dim light barely reached the end, where the dark shadows seemed unnaturally thick. The voice whispered urgently, "Do not turn around. Whatever you see will freeze your mind." My heart pounded, reverberating in my ears. Every instinct screamed to flee, but my feet remained rooted. I realized that the air itself felt heavier, almost alive, and the faint scent of something metallic or burnt drifted toward me. I froze mid-step. The hallway stretched longer than it should have, impossibly deep in the shadows. A faint sound of movement echoed, soft but deliberate, like careful footsteps not quite human. The voice whispered, "They are here. You must stay calm. Listen to me and move slowly." Sweat poured down my face. The apartment felt suddenly unfamiliar, the walls closer, pressing in. Even the familiar hum of my lights seemed distorted, almost like a low, threatening growl waiting just out of sight. I slowly advanced, trembling, every step measured, guided only by the voice. The shadows seemed to pulse as if breathing. I heard the faint creak of a floorboard behind me, my own. I dared not turn. The voice said quietly, "When you reach the end, do not speak, do not move suddenly." One wrong action and the line went silent for a moment. My own voice echoed in my mind, panicked and confused, leaving me unsure if I was talking to myself or something else entirely. The darkness at the end of the hallway seemed to grow, swallowing the small pool of lamp light from my bedroom. The faint outline of a figure appeared, blurred and shifting. "It's coming closer," the voice said, urgent, almost panicked. I could feel it before I could see it, a pressure in the air that made every breath labored. My hands shook violently, the phone slipping slightly from my grip. The tension was unbearable, and time felt suspended, each second stretching into an eternity. A sudden movement caught my eye, a shadow shifting unnaturally along the wall. The voice hissed, "Don't look directly at it." My stomach lurched as I forced my gaze to the floor, fighting the compulsion to glance. The air grew colder, each step echoing louder than possible. My pulse raced, my knees felt weak. It was impossible, yet the sensation of being observed was undeniable. Every instinct screamed to flee, yet I remained, anchored by the terrifying knowledge that the phone call was my only guide. I crept forward, each step slow and deliberate. The shadows twisted, almost forming shapes that mimicked human movement. The voice instructed, "Almost there. Keep quiet. Don't breathe too loudly." My chest tightened, my heart threatening to burst. The metallic scent grew stronger, mixing with the faint musk of old fabric and dust. The darkness seemed alive, undulating slightly as if aware of my every move. I realized I could no longer trust my senses, my eyes, ears, even my balance felt distorted. Suddenly, a faint glow appeared at the far end of the hallway, a reflection of my phone on a surface I couldn't identify. "That's your only light. Follow it," the voice whispered. My legs trembled, threatening to give out. Every shadow seemed to stretch toward me, cold tendrils brushing my arms. The sound of breathing grew louder, but it wasn't mine. Panic surged, but I forced myself to follow the faint glow, knowing that any sudden movement could trigger the unknown presence. The hallway ended abruptly, revealing a door slightly ajar. A cold draft slipped through the crack. "Do not open it," the voice warned urgently. "Just stand there and wait." My hands shook violently. The air was icy, and the dim light flickered across the walls, creating distorted shapes. I wanted to run, to escape, but my body refused. The phone vibrated softly in my hand, the screen glowing eerily. I felt trapped in a nightmare that seemed realer than reality itself. A faint whisper echoed from beyond the door, unintelligible yet unmistakably human. "It knows you're here," the voice said in a trembling tone. I felt the floor tremble slightly beneath me, though the building seemed solid. Shadows stretched unnaturally toward me, curling like fingers. My pulse pounded in my ears. Sweat ran down my face. The air felt heavy and alive, pressing against me from all sides. Every instinct told me to run, but I stayed frozen, guided only by the voice. I noticed a subtle movement at the edge of the light, a shifting shape that didn't belong. "It's observing you," the voice whispered. I held my breath, heart hammering. Each second stretched endlessly. My eyes darted, searching, but nothing concrete appeared. The shadows moved, warped, seemed alive. I realized that my mind was tricking me, yet the terror was real. I clutched the phone tighter, praying for guidance, for the voice to lead me safely through the impossible nightmare. The metallic scent intensified, mixing with a faint, sickly sweet odor I couldn't identify. I gagged slightly, but forced myself forward, guided only by the voice. The shadows coiled around the walls, reacting to every movement. My hands were slick with sweat. My breathing was shallow and rapid. I felt the presence draw closer, but I dared not look. Each step was a test, a delicate balance between terror and survival. At last, I reached the end of the hallway. The door loomed, slightly open, darkness spilling from the crack. "Stay calm," the voice instructed. "Do not speak, do not move suddenly." I could hear something shifting beyond the door, slow, deliberate, breathing heavily. My body screamed to flee, but my mind was paralyzed. The phone in my hand vibrated, a cold reminder that my only lifeline was still my own voice, 30 minutes from now. A shadow moved just beyond the door, its outline humanoid but distorted, as if my worst fears had taken shape. The voice hissed, "It's you. It's you from the future. Don't panic." I staggered back, heart hammering. The air was freezing now, every breath visible. The floor creaked beneath me, every sound magnified. I realized the impossible was happening. I was facing myself, or something nearly identical, and it held a phone that glowed faintly in the darkness. I couldn't tear my eyes away. The figure's face was obscured by shadow, yet I could sense its familiarity, its identical features. The phone in its hand rang softly, vibrating with an eerie pulse. The voice whispered frantically in my ear, guiding me, "Step back slowly. Do not touch anything. Let it be. Just wait." My body was trembling uncontrollably, adrenaline surging through me. The figure made no move, watching silently, waiting. A sudden realization struck me. The phone in its hand was the same model, same glow, same reflection of my face. The voice hissed urgently, "Everything depends on your next step. Do not panic. You can survive this if you follow my instructions precisely." I swallowed hard, tears pricking my eyes, heart threatening to explode. The shadows seemed alive, curling around the walls, almost like fingers ready to snatch me if I faltered. I raised my phone slowly, trembling, matching its glow to the one in its hand. The air was thick and suffocating. Every nerve in my body screamed danger. The voice continued whispering precise instructions. "Do not look directly. Step back. Keep the phone between you. Wait." I obeyed, moving with excruciatingly slow precision. The figure mirrored me perfectly, yet not entirely. The presence was subtly wrong, alien in the tiniest detail.